Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm here with Classroom of the Elite Season 3 episode number 7 reaction. So the previous episode, a new problem has begun. Not really a problem, but like the school has decided to issue an extra test which will be just voting, and they will be expelling the person who will be getting the least number of, like, who'll be getting like the negative votes or like the least points in vote. So they explained the whole like rules and stuff, which I was able to understand. There's a few interesting thing about the votes. You can give 3 good votes, 3 bad votes, and 1 good vote to another person in another class. And because of this, everyone's like just like getting fighting amongst each other now. Like Yamauchi's pointing fingers at Hirata, and while the girls are pointing fingers at Yamauchi, it's like all over the place. We also got to talk with Ruin for a bit, with the whole thing with Horikita and Ruin. That whole thing happened, and like all the other stuff. Sakanagi as well. Sakanagi, we talked to her and she said that we're in ceasefire mode now against Ayanokoji. At least she has to deal with Katsuragi. All that aside, the biggest thing in that episode was Ichinose in the end, where we get to see she plans on buying so that her group doesn't get like start fighting amongst each other because of the whole thing. If anyone gets expelled, she'll buy them back, and to do that she needs like I think 20 million or something points. And turns out she went to Nagomu for that, and Nagomu's like, oh, go out with me, then I'll give you the other points. Like stuff like that is happening. So yeah, let us see what happens today in this episode. This is episode number 7. Let us begin. I'll be putting the subtitles and the timer here. Sync it to whichever is your preference, and let's get started. Just a minute. All right, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own souls. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, the whole class is just... Good God, this is so toxic. The whole environment has become so toxic. Yeah. They were finally able to come together as a group, and now this. Bro, what is he doing? Yamauchi is too suspicious, man. Exactly. Oh boy, here we go. Hmm. Yeah, like she has to come to a decision. Like, this is another thing. She always like just tries to think like what her brother will do, not trying to tackle the situation through her own way. Like her dependency, like this type of dependency, is counterproductive in her situation. Like she needs to grow independent in that sense. Like otherwise, yeah, I don't know. Another thing, I feel like this is the best chance to just like somehow trap Kushida. Can't we just expel her like this? This is one of the best situations we can do that. But I don't know how. But like I'm hoping Anakoji has some plans regarding that. I'm sure he's planning to expel Kushida because he literally commented on that in one of the previous episodes. And this is like the only way. Like no other students will get expelled. It'll go, like Kushida will be expelled. Best case scenario. But it's a difficult job to do that. Hmm. I just realized something in that scene. One of the blocks is upside down, isn't it? The rightmost block. I don't know if that's a hint to something. Okay. Right. Okay. Hirata is asking for advice. Hmm. Whose voice is that? Oh, this girl. Yeah. Oh, the situation with Nagumo? Yep, there you go. Yep, she needs 5 million more. Yeah, I guess. Which is something so weird. I don't see Nagumo like that. I feel like he's doing this for some reason. Interesting. Yeah, that is true. Herself to help her. Hmm. Yeah. Wow. Well, you're not wrong. That's the charm. Hmm. Okay. Right. Right, let's see what Hirata has to say. Hmm. So, damn, he has like eye bags. He hasn't slept or something. Hey, yo. Bro, where did he pop up from? Hirata boy. Yeah. Wow. Right. Damn. Right. I'm very curious as to what goes through this guy's head. Like not Koenji, I'm talking about Hirata. Like I cannot read him. Like he seems like a nice guy, but hmm. Until this test started. Right. So what is bothering him? So he thinks he'll be expelled? No, he wants to help everyone. Yeah, okay, okay. That's what he's thinking. Yeah, it's not. Hmm. We'll never be willing to figure out who that should be. Yeah. Ooh. Well, Kushida. I doubt he'll say that. I'm really wondering why is he taking this so hard? Like I can understand they're all their friends. Hmm. Who is this? Oh, Ichino-san. Okay. The floor is cold. Yeah. There we go. Mmm. Mmm. Yeah, they're close to it, but not enough. Oh, bruh. She just guessed it. Hmm. 5 million. Hmm. Kind of thing I'd have to. What? You're right. However, like, nah, their group is very important for their group to stay together. Otherwise, it'll be bad. Well. Yo, his face. I always look at his face and I'm like, whoa, you're. Okay, things are looking a bit positive. Why? I don't understand. Yeah, why is everything? Exactly. Like, what is happening? Weird. Ah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Well, Yamauchi is also getting bothered by it. No, not Yamauchi. What's his name? Yukimura. Yeah, exactly. That might counter. Oh my god. Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Like, why did they not ask them? Tell them. Hmm. Theoretically. Embrace this person. Hmm. Right. Okay. Yeah. Hey, yo, why? Okay, I was just in the previous episode. I was like, how? Why would they even think of expelling Ainokoji? How is this happening? Like, half. Yeah. Like, I'm like, this whole thing is just, right. Like, how? So they just, like, they just like figured out, like, oh, we should make someone a scapegoat, and that's why this is going on. Why? Yeah, the ringleader talk to you first. Use your people's with the idea moment. Ah, shut up. Just stop your crocodile tears. Oh God, here we go. Right? Ah, okay. Hmm. Is she lying? Yeah, there you go. Well, it's pretty obvious. Yamauchi. Yeah, well, Yamauchi talked to Sakanagi. That's what. Wait, so Yamauchi. Wait a minute. I'll talk about this later. Yeah, but didn't Sakanagi say that if I do something to harm your, like, she said that I will not pester you to go against me, something like that. She said in the previous episode. So we have proof now. Okay. Right. You don't have any regrets. Horikita Manabu. Okay. Hmm. Damn. Yo, that is crazy. Second points to. Yeah. Hmm. 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 Well, yeah, fairly enough. Enjoyable. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, that is true. Because the whole thing with Anokoji, where Anokoji told her to go talk to Sudo. Wow. But you're the one who is. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, you don't have to because his whole thing is so different. This is literally what I was saying. She is just thinking about what I should do to emulate someone. She's not thinking that how I should tackle this in my own. Hmm. Okay. Wait, did Anakoji tell him to? Okay. Sleep through it. Yeah, you little sly little. Hmm. Wait, is he going to get expelled or something? I don't think so. I think Anakoji will. Okay. All right. Here we go. What to say? Right. Bro, shut up. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. I was able to find the answer. Right. Come on. Let her finish. Okay. Makes sense to should True. Damn, even Koenji is interested. Yeah, it's not. How can you do that even? I will name the person who deserves to be expelled. Okay. Oh, interesting. Red hair kun. Okay. Oh. Okay. Okay. So I thought she was going to do something. I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting. But she actually named someone. Okay. I wasn't expecting that. Like I said, I don't know what I was expecting. I thought she was going to like I don't know find some loophole in the whole thing. But yeah, there literally is no loophole in this. So you have to name someone. But I do wonder if there's a deeper reasoning behind her naming Yamauchi, or she expects something to happen after this. Like, I don't know. Let's see. And another thing, this is the interesting thing. I'll talk about this. I'm just going to talk about it. Um, you know, the psychological thing about this exam is that nobody wants to dirty their hands. Everyone wants to be the good person. So the fact that Horikita named someone, I feel like everyone will jump ship now and literally do that because Horikita is the one who's sullying her hands. And like the responsibility falls on Horikita now. Okay, that's it. Like this is the psychological, I don't know, like aspect of this whole thing is that everyone wants to be the good person. They don't want to name someone directly or be like, oh, I'm expelling you. That is why everyone is like like keeping it in like a secret and like making groups and everything and sharing it within themselves because they don't want to expose themselves. Obviously, everyone knows what's going on. Everyone knows they're literally singling out one person, but they're acting as if they don't know anything about it, to keep the moral high ground. And, that is why, like, it's going in this way. So, now that Horikita has named someone, she herself took the responsibility of sullying her own hands and be the person who's pointing finger at someone. Now that this has happened, I feel like everyone, to keep themselves clean and unsullied, there is a possibility they might actually listen to Horikita and exactly do that because it's not their responsibility anymore again. Everyone is like, oh yeah, Horikita told us, so that's why we agreed to it. Like the whole responsibility will fall on Horikita, and everyone else will be, you know, in their own, like, they'll be unsullied in that way. Like, no, like this is the thing. Nobody wants to dirty their own hands. Like it's difficult to do that. So when someone is taking that responsibility themselves, I feel like they might just do it so that they don't have to take any part of this responsibility. So there is a possibility that everyone might be like, all right, you know what? Yeah, let's just vote Yamauchi and like kick him out. And I'm not responsible. I'll just say that, oh, like Horikita, told us to do so, and I agreed to it. And everyone was doing it, so I also had to do it. Like they can like like just try to skip their own responsibility with this. They'll be able to avoid responsibility like this. They'll be just like, yeah, I thought like the whole class is going to vote out Yamauchi. That is why I had no other choice. I also did that. That'll be like one excuse out of this, and they themselves will be able to avoid responsibility, and all the responsibility will fall on Horikita. you know that kind of thing. But and Horikita exactly wants to do that because this is the thing. Like I said, this test is basically taking responsibility. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to take responsibility and be the bad guy who says that, oh, you should be expelled. This whole false thing going on about pretending that, oh, I'm okay with you, but deep down inside you're not okay with them and you're literally voting them out. That kind of thing. Like, nobody wants to be the bad guy here. Nobody wants to take responsibility and point fingers because that literally makes them vulnerable. Other people might do the same to them in the future as well. So to avoid that, this whole nonsense is going on. People are like just whispering behind each other's backs, like spreading rumors and stuff, and just doing these type of things. And nobody wants to take responsibility. And when Horikita has taken the responsibility now, I feel like they might actually be like, all right, you know what? Let's just let's just go along with this. Then we will be free from any type of responsibility. And in the future, if things go south, we can all point our fingers at Horikita and be like, oh, she's the one who instigated this, and that's why we did it. Something like that. I don't know. Maybe there is a possibility that it might go that way. Not really sure. Or maybe Horikita is trying to do something else. Because we need to remember that Horikita wants to keep everyone in the class. So maybe this is part of her, some kind of a plan where ultimately she'll be able to keep the whole class intact. But like I said, I don't see any such loophole in this unless and until you bring out 20 million class points. In no way can you do this. So I cannot find any loophole in this. So I don't know. There's a very low possibility of uh, this being just a part of a grand scheme that Horikita has. There's a very low possibility of that. You know. But I'm just thinking, will she really like that easily be able to But then again, like after that whole like session, like that whole scene of what's his name, Manabu talking to Horikita, all that. Maybe that like made her uh, confident and made her like realize that, what, yeah, I'm just sitting down and doing nothing, trying to avoid responsibility. I have to stand up if I want to do something and take this class up the ranks. So that is why, maybe that's why um she has renewed conviction now, and that is why she decided that, yeah, what, we have to like like sax like like expel someone, otherwise it's impossible. That's why she's doing this. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe that, or maybe she has some other plan. But then again, yeah, I don't see any other plan in this. There's literally no loophole in this. You either bring the points or you expel someone. Nothing other than that. So yeah, maybe Horikita just formed herself, and she's like, what, let's do it. But I do wonder her the basis on why she chose Yamauchi. Like obviously Yamauchi, is doing all of this, but Horikita doesn't know that. We need to remember, Horikita doesn't know that Yamauchi is behind all of this. Like technically not Yamauchi, because it's Sakayanagi who's doing everything. But she doesn't know that. So I do wonder why she suddenly pointed her finger at Yamauchi. Is there a particular reason for that? No. So let's wait and see. There's a lot of possibilities on this. Next episode will probably answer all my questions. Yeah, either this is a part of a big plan where she plans to save everyone, or she just firmed herself and decided, yeah, we need to cut someone out. Either of that. So let's wait and see next episode. And I do wonder how Yamauchi is going to react to this. Oh my god. Right. And yeah, so that was the most interesting part of this episode. A few other interesting sections here. For example, Anakoji deducing that Sakanagi is behind this when Kushida comes in. And okay, another thing, I said that I'm going to talk about this. Didn't Sakanagi just say that if some way or the other I somehow like try to slow you down in this test, you have the right to refuse to um, do the do the competition against me. The whatever competition they were planning. She said that, oh, ceasefire now. I'm focusing on Katsuragi, and I promise you that I won't do anything to you in this test. If I do it, you have every right to like refuse my future challenges. Something like that she said, didn't she? And now that we know, can't we just be like, all right, you know what, Sakanagi? Yeah, this is what you did, and you said that. I don't know. I don't know what's going to go over there. But it's so funny that Sakanagi literally said that, oh, I'm not going to do anything to you. And she's the one who's literally doing everything. Or Kushida's lying. Again, this show, you need to think of every single alternative. Like, it might be that Kushida's just lying. Maybe it's her that's doing all of this. Maybe it's her who told Yamauchi to spread all these, to make sure that people like vote against Ayanokoji. Or maybe she's doing it through a proxy, you know, because we know that Kushida wants Ayanokoji and Horikita gone. So maybe it's her. Maybe she just lied or something. I don't know. Like I said, we always need to think about both the sides here, because this show, you cannot trust anybody, especially someone like Kushida. But Ayanokoji was the one who deduced that it's Sakanagi. So, but we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see. Because, yeah, like, is it really Sakanagi? Maybe it is. Maybe this was a whole part of her plan. We'll see. Let's wait and see. Um, right. Okay, that was that. And then a few other things, few other important things in this episode. For example, this girl, she told I forgot her name. This girl, she told Ayanokoji about Ichinose uh, and Nagomu, and said that Nagomu told her to go out with him. So yeah, that whole thing he told her. Then we had the whole Hirata coming and asking Ayanokoji for help. Now here's another thing that has always not really bothered me, but it's something that always I find odd, is that how can someone be so selfless, and that he's not really thinking about himself, he's thinking about the whole class, even in a crazy situation like this. you know like What? How is that possible? Like, is he really that nice? I feel like I literally said the same thing for Ichinose as well, and now I'm like, yeah, Ichinose is really a nice person. Maybe I'll just be like that for Hirata as well by the end of it, because unless and until you get to know their intentions and what they're planning, you cannot trust anybody in this show. So Hirata, we've seen him every single time, every single scenario. We've seen him try to save every single person, you know, and he's so obsessed about saving every single person. And even in a situation like this, he's like, how can I help everyone? How can I keep everyone in this group? Is there a particular reason why he's trying to do this? That he literally trying to keep everyone. Like I said, yeah, like maybe they're good friends and everything. But really, in a situation like this, you're thinking of everyone else instead of yourself when you have a big, like there's a big reason why you might also get expelled. How selfless can you be? That kind of thing. I mean, it's always like, it's bothering me for and this is not only the only time. We've seen this from season 1. Every single time when a situation like this happens, he always thinks about everyone, and he's trying to save everyone. Like, who is he, Emi Ashiro? Like, I'm going to save everyone, like the hero of justice. Really, is that like who he is? This whole, like, because I'm genuinely curious. Like, I'm really interested in saying, I'm sure we'll get to that point somewhere in the future, but like, I'm really curious as to get to know what's going on in his brain. Is this really what he thinks? Does he really want to save anyone? Is he really a very good person? And that's it. There's no, like no other side of the coin. Because like seeing seeing him in this show, I'm actually believing that, yeah, maybe he's just a nice person who just wants to help everyone you know but then again, like I said, I'll just have to wait and see, like, when we'll get to know what he actually thinks, and if this is really what he thinks and this is his true intentions. Then yeah, again, I suspected Ichinose for a long time, and then now I'm like, she's a good girl, there's no other side to her. I'm doing the same for Hirata. Maybe that'll be the conclusion for that as well. Like, I'll be like, by the end of it, I'll be like, he's just a nice guy. But let's wait for it. Let's wait for the anime to properly show that to us. Either way, yeah, there you go. And then there was the Ichinose section as well, where she talks to uh, Ayano Koji, and, like, talks about the whole Nagomu situation, that part. Um, right, and then another important part of this episode, Horikita talking to her brother, and you can see that it's been a long time, like, as Horikita's Manabu said, that it's been 3 years we've talked like this. Now, this is another thing that I wanted to talk about. Horikita has this. I'm going to say this is like a bad habit. Like, she tries to emulate someone that she respects so much that she completely not forgets, but she completely misses the point of that. Oh, I should try to tackle this on my own. She's always like, what would brother do in this situation? What would brother track? How would brother tackle this situation? She never thinks that, oh, how should I try to go about this situation? She always thinks about her brother and how he would do it. You know, and I guess it makes sense because you can see how much respect she has for him, and I'm pretty sure in her family, like, her family probably was the type of family where everyone praised his brother in front of her, and she was the kid who obviously was talented but not as talented as his brother, so everyone probably compared her to him or something like that. And that's why this is just her, like, like, habit now, that she always compares herself to her brother and always tries to think how I can, like, catch up to my brother. I don't know, these are all speculations, these might not be true, I'm just guessing. There's a possibility that it might be something like that. But you can see here, even now, Manabu wants her to just walk her own path, not emulate him or anyone else. Like, just tackle a situation according to what she thinks is correct. If she keeps trying to emulate him, it's not going to help her at all. Like, like, everyone has their own way of tackling situations. something that Manabu is not good at. It might be that Horikita is good at that, and she might not even know that. And by trying to imitate Manabu, she's killing her own the possibility, her own talent. She's killing her own talent to blossom in its own way. You know, like kind of like that. Like just take an example. For example, like just assume that Horikita and Manabu are from a family of painters. I'm just saying it's like a hypothetical situation. Manabu is the most talented, very talented painter who is very good at painting. Horikita is not as talented as not Horikita, sorry. What's her first name? Her first name is Horikita, isn't it? I don't know. I've forgotten. Anyways, and she's not that talented, but she's still good, and she always tries to emulate Manabu, trying to be as good as him. But then, the reality of the situation is maybe her talent doesn't lie in painting. Maybe she's good at singing, and she's never tried that before. So that talent is just there, hidden. It's never going to be like you cannot find it unless and until Horikita herself decides to stop trying to emulate him and try to tackle the situation on her own. Then only she'll be able to find it. Situations like this, like, so yeah, a problem has multiple ways you can fix it. She's trying to think like, oh, what would brother do? She's not trying to think how should I do this. That is what, like, that was the most important thing that Manabu taught her today. In a way, you could see, like, Manabu literally tells her that you should try to take care of the situation on your own. you know and don't try to, like, do not try to imitate others. you know and another thing he kind of says, that when he asks her that, oh, what do you feel, how the school is, are you enjoying it? And she's like, oh, I cannot really say that I enjoy it, but it's not boring either. And he's like, okay, you have progressed in that sense. Like, you're looking at other people now, you've broadened your horizon. That is good. And like, you can like I said, it just reminded me of that scene from season 2, was it? Yeah, where Anakoji was like, come on, Horikita, like, go and talk to Sudo, bring him here. Just try. And that whole scene where she was like, oh, why don't you guys run faster? And then Anakoji was like, all right, you know what, let's go. And he starts running, and Horikita's struggling to keep up, and he's like, yeah, why don't you go faster? And then that was like he literally taught her there that, like, you cannot try to do stuff like this. You need to understand and look at your surroundings and do things based on the situation. You cannot try to force your way through, like, by keeping your own, like, vision in a tight, like, in, like, keeping yourself in a tunnel vision. You cannot expect to understand other people if you're not even looking at others. That. So Manabu explains that, says that, oh, you changed in that sense at least. And yeah. And another thing he says that, what do you think about Ayano Koji? And she's like, oh, like, it's someone I need to surpass. And he's like, oh, you cannot surpass him. But that's not something bad. Like, you do it in your own way. There's no need for trying to go it in the direction that Ayano Koji would have went, or in the direction where I would go. Try to do it on your own, in your own way. Right, like, stuff like that. And I'm guessing that helped her immensely to stand up today in class. That whole thing. And this is probably what Ayano told Manabu, in phone call previous night, something like that, I think. I don't know. But yeah, but if that's what Ayano told Manabu, it's kind of weird, isn't it, that Ayano had to be the one to tell Manabu to talk to his sister and just, like, advise her. Like, what a weird thing, isn't it? Like, like, why didn't Manabu do this from the very beginning? Like, is he that awkward? Like, like, you can see that he's concerned about his sister, but he doesn't even talk to her. And like, what is, like, it's so baffling all the time. Like, I'm genuinely don't understand, like, what's up. Like, is Manabu really, like, like, he's just dry personality. Like, what I think is that Manabu is just an awkward guy who doesn't know how to interact with, Horikita. And that's it. That's what I think. Because like I said, if this scene that we saw today is the result of Ayano calling Manabu and telling him to do this, then I have to say, come on, man. Like, you had someone else talk to you and tell you about what you should do with your own family and advise you about it. And like he should have done this way before, like because I'm sure he understands Horikita's problem and like Horikita's situation. So yeah, he should have done this way before. Then again, I'm just assuming that that was what Ayano called him about, and phone called him and told him to talk to Horikita. Maybe he just did this on his own and it had nothing to do with Ayano, but I'm like 80% sure that it was Ayano who told him to do it. So that's why I'm saying it's kind of weird that like you had to hear this from a third party and then do it, because she's family, you had to hear it from Anakoji to do this. Like that's the weird part here. Anyways, right. So yeah, that was this episode. That was the important sections in this episode. And yeah, obviously in the end, Horikita's like, oh, we should expel Yamauchi. I'm looking forward to the next episode, how this will go. Okay, now, right. This is the episode, my overall impression. Now, let me talk about this episode scene by scene. I love how every single episode in the beginning, the quote, you read it and you're like, okay, that's an interesting quote. And then you watch the episode, and then when you come back to the quote again, you realize the reasoning why they put that quote here. Today's quote is, people will do anything no matter how absurd in order to avoid facing their own soul. This was literally what I was talking about in the first part of the discussion. People do not want to take responsibility. They want to keep themselves unsullied, and they want to be clean and a good person in front of their own conscience. You know, that's what it is saying here. People will do anything no matter how absurd in order to avoid facing their own souls, which is literally their conscience. That is what's happening here. And I'm guessing that this is the direction that it's going towards. People don't want to take responsibility to expel someone. They want to be the good person. They don't want to sully their own hands. That is why now that they have found and they've seen that Horikita is literally doing it for them, they'll probably jump ship on Yamauchi and expel him, or at least try to. And then, like, they will be able to avoid any responsibility, And that is literally what this quote is saying. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own souls. Okay, the first section, we get to see everyone's just like like very tensed. The whole class is tensed. Some people are just trying to keep their head down. Some people are discussing amongst each other what we should do. It's a very toxic environment. And Horikita and Ayanokoji are talking about it. And yeah, and Ayanokoji here talks about to Horikita and tells her that you have to take a decision this time. Like and he says that, oh, you said Yurin's determination is false, but what I see is like your determination is false. This is not going to result in anything. And yeah, there you go. So that's that. And then we go to the next scene where we have, okay, one thing, like I said, in this opening song, what is this section? You see this part where there's like a grid of hands with the phone. There's one grid on the rightmost side in the third row, fourth column, third row, which is upside down. I do wonder if there's a deeper meaning behind this. I don't know. Like, why is that grid only upside down? Like, the hand is upside down. Like, all the other hands are like this, and that one's like this with the phone. I do wonder. Anyways, right. So yeah, the next scene you can see, Ayanokoji is walking, and then this girl comes in. Forgot her name. Asahina. Is that her name? Yeah, Asahina senpai. So she comes in and she's like, oh, I need to talk to you. And she comes and tells him about Ichino-sen. And she's like, yeah, like she needs 5 million more points. And she asked Nagomu for it. And Nagomu said that, oh, you go out with me, then I'll give it to you. And Anakoji is like, interesting. And he's like, why are you telling me this? She's like, oh, I wonder. I just thought it'll be like, like I need to tell you about this. I love how a lot of characters just come to Anakoji to tell them about the problems, not even realizing why they're doing it, because at the end of the day, it's Anakoji who solves most of the problems, and like a lot of the people unconsciously comes and like relies on him, and like kind of like that. Anyways, and okay, her reasoning why she's doing this, I'm doing it to help my own class. If maybe lends that many points to a first year, It could be a burden to us later. There you go. That's one. And then she also says, and most of all, I'd feel bad for Honami if she put herself through that to help out a friend. Right. So that is her reasoning behind this. Okay. And yeah, and another thing, like I'm really curious. Is this really what Nagomu wants? Just for her to go out with him? I don't know. Like the impression that I had of Nagomu is that he's not the type of person who's going to use or abuse these type of things just because he wants to go out with someone or some, like that seems like such a, like like a like a weird like thing to do, like I accept someone like Yamauchi to do something like that, not really Nagumu. But then again, I don't even know Nagumu that much. Maybe this is what his inner like person is like. So who knows? I'm just like I don't know. I kind of had like a higher impression of Nagomu in a bad way, obviously, because he's like the antagonist kind of person. So in a bad way, I had a higher expectation. So him saying something like this, I'm like, what? Why? Like really? Like that? Like I said, this is something that I would expect Yamauchi to do. Like, oh, go out with me, I'll give you this, like that kind of thing. Like trying to like prey on other people on their time of need, that kind of thing. But like I said, then again, I don't even know Nagumu that much. So yeah, maybe he was like this, or maybe this is, again, like I said, he's doing this for some other grand reason, which he's not telling us. Either way. Oh, maybe he's doing it so that Ayano is going to act. I don't know, because he knows that Ayano is one of the masterminds or whatever. He literally, his conversation with Manabu proved that. So maybe he's doing this. He knows that like, because Hashimoto knows Ayano and Ichinose, like, no, no, yeah, like I think like they do know that Ichinose and Ayano have like a good relationship. So maybe that's why they're doing. I don't know. He's trying to do this so that he's trying to kind of make Ayano act, just like how Sakanagi did, like try to drag Ayano in this whole mess indirectly. He's doing the same thing, trying to drag Ayano in this whole situation. I don't know. Either way, yeah, that was that. Mm, so after that, oh, then we get to see Hirata, like it's like, oh, I need to talk to you. So Hirata is there, and Ayano talks to Hirata. When they're going up to their room, Kowenji comes in, and he's like, oh, you guys just keep licking your own wounds while like, and then expel the weaker one. And Hirata's just mad at that. So there you go. Now the whole situation with Hirata comes up here. Like I said, I'm really curious as to what Hirata is thinking. Is this really who he is, or there's some deeper reasoning behind him always being concerned about his whole class? And because like I said, if he's really someone like this, that's pretty impressive. He's literally a saint. He just thinks about other people all the time, trying to keep the whole group nice, even though he himself has a bigger like opportunity of getting expelled. There's a possibility that he might get expelled. Still he's thinking about everyone else. That is pretty damn noble, if that's all there to is to his personality. But let's wait and see. Either way, he talks to Anakoji about this, and you can see, I can see one thing, and I can understand one thing. He suffers from inferiority complex, doesn't he? Like there's this weird thing he always brings up. He's like, oh, you like I'm not. Yeah, I think that's one of his big problems. He suffers from inferiority complex. He has low confidence, but at the same time, since everyone relies on him and like just thinks of him as such a great like a capable person, he hates that. It's probably something like that. He hates the fact that he's not the type of person that other people see him to be, and that is why he suffers from inferiority complex. Yeah, you know what, I think that's what is going on here. That is what he's, and that is always why he's trying to do his best so that everyone will be okay, because he's trying to reach that person, the person that everyone else is seeing that he's not. Like this is what's happening. Okay, you know what, I think I understand his thing. I don't think I need to like I feel like he's a good person, but the problem with him is that, not problem, but what he suffers from is that, like I said, everyone envisions him to be someone great and who can do everything. He himself realizes he's not someone like that. but he tries to be someone like that. And that is why he suffers from inferiority complex. He suffers from lack of confidence, and he's always trying to chase himself, the persona, the person who everyone is envisioning him to be. He's always trying to chase that, and he always like suffers from lack of confidence because he knows he's not that person. He's not able to reach that, and that is why he's always trying to help everyone and do the best, because that is the person he's trying to be. He's trying to be the person that everyone sees him to be, and that's why he's always so concerned about everyone, because he's trying to be the best, just like everyone is envisioning him to be. I don't know, this is just a guess. This is how I see. It just suddenly came to my mind because maybe this is what's going on with him, and that's why he's all. It would make sense. That is why he's always just concerned about the whole class, because he's trying to be that person who helps everyone out, and you know yeah, he's chasing himself, or the person that everyone else is seeing him to be. That's the person he's chasing, right? Either way, yeah, and he talks about this to him, and he even says like, oh, you're so cool-headed, Ayano like I realized this with the whole situation with Kay as well, like, yeah, there you go. And that was that. And then we get to the scene with Ichinose. Ichinose comes in to Anakoji's place, and yeah, Anakoji called her. So she comes in and she sits down, it's like fidgeting, blushing. Anyways, Anakoji gives her coffee, and Anakoji is like, all right, so tell me, what do you plan on doing about this situation? So talking about this whole thing, he brings up Nagomu and that whole thing, and she's like, oh, so you know about it. And then she's like, oh, so do you feel less of me now? And he's like, why? And and she's like, yeah, I see nothing to judge you for, though I don't understand why you're so desperate to save one person. Now, here's the thing. I would have said the same thing, but like I said, I feel like Ichinose's situation is more different because her class is really a good class. They actually have such a great bond that if something happens to that bond, the whole class will crumble. So I think it is the most important for her class, at least, to stay intact. Any other class, I don't think it'll matter by the end of it. It'll matter for a few days maybe, but then everyone will move on. But her group, I think it's going to crumble if one of them goes out. And it is very important for her group to stay together, because that's literally the strength of the group, being together and being honest with each other. So this whole nonsense is definitely going to be a stressful thing to them. And that's why Ichinos is trying to do everything, you know. Anyways, so Ichinos is like, no, like, I want to help everyone. And she's like, oh, are you something really amazing? And he's like, no, why? And she's like, oh, then it makes you even more amazing. If you're not someone amazing, you doing all these amazing things makes you more amazing. Which is true. Right. And she's like, I've already made my decision, but now that I've come talk to you, I don't know what I'm going to do with the whole Nagumu situation. Anyways, so while all of this is happening, next day at school, everyone's being weirdly quiet. So like Ayanokoji's group is kind of getting bothered by it. So they're like, what's happening? Are they trying to expel us or something? That's what they're trying to do, because they didn't even tell us, And obviously the thing to understand from this is that they have already decided someone to expel. That's why they're keeping quiet, and the whole mood is so good. So they're concerned about the fact that they might be targeted, But either way, the whole group is like, don't worry, we will be strong, We won't go against each other. So that was that. And then Ayanokoji, okay, talks to Kay, and Kay's like, oh, everyone's trying to expel you. So Kay tells tells him that, yeah, Ayanokoji, you're in trouble. Everyone has decided that they're going to expel you. So they talk about the situation a little bit. Kay is like baffled that Ayanokoji is taking it so calmly, and Ayanokoji is like, oh, that is why you're over there to help me out with this. And she's like blushing and everything, that whole thing. Either way, Ayanokoji is like, yeah, I'll take care of it. So Ayanokoji goes and talks to Kushida after that, and here the whole conversation happens, and he gets to know that Kushida's the one who somehow was the stand-in for that one mastermind who has who has who has made this situation, and who has like what can I say, who has Like she's like the middleman behind what's happening. Like that Ayano Koji will be expelled. Like she's not directly responsible, but someone told her to do something about it. So Ayano Koji is like, okay, so you're not going to tell me? And she's like, no. At first she's like, no. And then he's like, okay, fair enough. She's just like, wait, you're not going to keep asking me? Are you going to that easily you're giving up? Are you going to track down the ringleader yourself? And he's like, oh, I don't know. I probably don't have any confidence in that. Kushida's like, okay, I'll tell you. It's Yamauchi. Obviously, she said nothing about Sakanagi, so she's like, yeah, I can at least tell him Yamauchi's name. As soon as she did that, Anako's like, okay, that means Sakanagi. She is actually kind of like baffled at this. She actually is surprised. She's like, wait, how did you know that? It's pretty obvious. Like, Sakanagi came and talked to Yamauchi. You think Yamauchi is going to do this on his own? I don't think he has that, like, he's that capable or he has that amount of brains. He's doing this based on someone else, like what someone else told him to do. Yeah, it's Sakanagi. So there you go. And he's like, all right, I'll see what I'm going to do about this. So he calls Manabu and tells him to do something. And there you go. Then we get to this scene where Manabu talks to Horikita, and like he asks her that, right. So oh no, Horikita's like, oh, I've like I'm talking to you over here because I want you to give me courage. I don't want any points or anything like that. Now here's the thing. One thing I just realized that it's not that Manabu called her here. Like if Anakoji told him to do that, it would be Manabu who called Horikita here. But the fact is, Horikita called Manabu here. So I'm not really sure if it is Ayano who told Manabu to say all of this. I'm not really 100% sure. Like I've just been assuming up until now is that Ayano told him to say all of this. Maybe not. Maybe Ayano told him to do something else. Because it is Horikita who called Manabu here, not the other way around. So Horikita had something to tell Manabu. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure about that. But let's wait. Either way, Horikita talks to him and says that, like, this whole situation is bad. Everyone's either keeping their heads down or waiting for it to be over. And she's like, I want to do it the proper way, otherwise we'll all regret it. I want to face the exam head on. And Manabu's like, okay, give me an answer to a question. Are you finding yourself enjoying this school? He's like, I don't know if it's enjoyable, but I'm not bored. And he's like, okay, you've changed. You at least look at other people now. That means, that is one of the best things. And this part is so interesting. There we go. You never looked at anything around you, but you've widened your view and you're escaping your life of boredom. There you go. Horikita's like, that doesn't sound much like you. Here we go. The person that she thinks her brother is, she's like, oh, it doesn't seem like something you would say. And he literally says here that what would sound like me? All you see me of is my achievements and popularity. It is true, like she just assumed that it's not something that her brother would say. And that's why Manu was like, you just look at me for my goals and what I am, like what achievements I've done. That's all you see in me, So, and she says, oh, that is because you are my eternal goal. So Manabu says that your goal. How do you see Ayano then? And she says, oh, he's kind of, but I don't particularly care for him, but I do want to surpass him. And he's like, oh, you cannot do that. Just give up. And she's like, what? And then he says, like, that said, you do not have to. You should grow in a way that is more like you. So he's literally telling her that don't emulate me. Try to do it on your own way. Don't emulate me or Ayano. Don't try to catch up with us. You do your best. And, like one day you'll realize that you're standing beside us. That kind of thing. Like just don't look at us as, yeah, obviously we're your goal. It's fine. But don't try to walk our path, walk your own path, and then one day you'll realize that you're standing beside us, maybe surpass us someday. Right. And he's like, are you afraid? Because it makes sense, like all the time she has been just looking at her brother and she's been walking his path. So it's someone who, it was as if someone was just taking her hand and just like leading her the way. But now if suddenly someone released her hand and they're like, oh, do it on your own, obviously you'll be scared. You'll be like, oh, where should I go? This direction, that direction? You're scared. And that's what's happening to her. Like, she's been walking a predetermined path, and now his brother is like, oh, you walk your own path, and completely broke that path in front of her. Not really break that path, but told her that don't go to this path, walk on your own path. So she's scared now. She's like, where should I go? What if I get lost? That kind of thing. In order to close this distance, you must take a step forward. Yeah. What should I do? You're still naive, but I will give you the answer. So tell me what is you want to ask your class. There you go. And they don't show anything after that. And then we get to the class. So everyone's like, the class has been dismissed. And like Yamauchi and they're like, oh, let's go and hang out. Horikita comes up and she's like, I have to talk to you guys. Yamauchi is the most anxious about this because he knows he's the guilty one. So he's like, oh, like we want to go and hang out. Like we don't have time for this. And Horikita's like, yeah, you want to go and hang out? You're pretty damn calm for someone we're going to have we're going to have an expulsion thing later on later on. You're pretty damn calm for that, like you don't have any fear. And he's like, oh, I just gave up or something like that, like stuff like that. Even Hirata's like, wait, what are you trying to do, Horikita? Nobody here deserves to be expelled. But Horikita's like, just listen to me, let me finish talking. So he says, like, now here I'm standing and I'm going to say the person's name who should be expelled. Even what's his name? Koenji. Even Koenji is like, oh, that's interesting. Like, tell us more. What do you want to say? Yeah, so. And yeah, before that, Horikita did say a few other things. For example, she said like, oh, there's a possibility that someone really good might get expelled because of this. And that'll be a big, reason for, our strength will go down massively. So we'll regret it for the rest of our days. So she's like, normally I'd like to talk with you to know, tell you who to expel, to decide who to expel, but it's not really going to work that way, So I'm just going to tell the name. There's one person I believe should be expelled from this exam. It is you, Yamauchi. And that's where it ended. So like I said, there's a possibility that everyone will actually follow Horikita because, like I said, nobody wants to sully their own hands. If someone else is making the decision for them, they'll be happy to follow that, because they don't have to take any responsibility for it. There's a huge possibility that everyone will actually listen to her and vote for Yamauchi. And I do wonder if this is actually what Horikita is planning, because we do know she doesn't want to expel anybody, but after listening to Manabu, has she made up her mind to actually take that step, or she has a bigger plan where this is just a part of it, where the ultimate goal of her is to somehow keep everyone make everyone not get expelled. So there's a lot of possibilities I'm thinking of. So let's wait for the next episode. So that is it. That's my reaction to this episode. Thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, or you haven't subscribed. Comment down below anything you want to say, anything you want to let me know. I'll check them out. And that is it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week with another episode of Classroom of the Elite. Until then, goodbye and have a nice day.